what's so important for people to know about ADHD is that it doesn't impact your intelligence. And so there are so many intelligent people with ADHD. Of course, there are people additionally who have cognitive deficiencies or learning disabilities, dyslexia. That's very
Just like
common as
every
well.
average. Okay.
Yeah, just
Okay.
like every other human being.
Yeah.
But where somebody can start to think like, wait a second, maybe this is me, is if you feel like there is a huge gap between your potential and your performance.
Mm,
That's a really great indicator that it might be prudent to, look up some symptoms. I have a symptoms list on my website, or you can talk to your doctor or whatever the case may be,
yeah.
and just see if you resonate with those symptoms, because that is pretty much across the board. The most common thing with people, adults with ADHD, is their performance does not match their potential. There's a big gap between the two.
Yeah. Welcome to the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast, where we hold your sensitive nature front and center. Because your sensitivity is a gift that needs polishing up every day. In our world of high stimulation, there's rarely a chance to sit back, listen, and go deep. Join me as I hang out with highly sensitive women and the healers who support them as we dive deep into all things sensitive, healing from childhood wounds, cool alternative methods for growth, and all the ways your sensitivities make you a powerful force to be reckoned with. So let's take a drive or a walk, or let's get comfy on the couch with a soft blanket and beverage. You're in for some wholehearted, soulful conversations with truly amazing women like you. Let's grow a strong community of awakened, sensitive women together. Hi, and welcome back to the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. I'm your host, Biz Cush, and I just so appreciate you listening, tuning in, being here, being a part of this journey of the podcast and exploring all topics around high sensitivity and highly sensitive women. I know that hasn't been the focus throughout the podcast from beginning of time back in 2018, but I have really enjoyed just honing in on what it means to be highly sensitive and talking to the women who either are highly sensitive or are supporting them through their work. And it's been great. And today was no exception. We have an amazing guest, Kristen Carder, who is an ADHD coach and all things ADHD. She's also got a podcast herself, which we will talk about later in the conversation. But before we get started, one of the things that really came through for me in this conversation was the importance of community. And finding a community that understands you, that gets you, that understands your perspective and experience, because they are like you. They resonate, whether you're a highly sensitive community, a community that's centered on ADHD, whatever it might be. Finding your people really matters. And so I invite you, if you are highly sensitive, to check out the Circle of Sacred Sensitivity membership. You can hop on one of our monthly meetings and get a taste for what the membership is all about. But you can also join the membership and get more value. You get the monthly meetings as well as resources designed for you, the highly sensitive woman. Within the meetings, we meditate, we laugh, we share, we feel deeply, we connect. And it's really powerful. So if you're considering it, head to my website, elizabethcush.com, and you will find the podcast as well as the membership information there. All right, so let us talk to Kristen Carder, who is the host of the I Have ADHD podcast. She is an energetic and thoughtful and insightful guest, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's jump in. Hi, Kristen, and welcome to the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. So great to have you here. But for listeners who might not know who you are, could you share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. It is great to be here with you. I'm Kristen Carder. I'm the host of the I Have ADHD podcast. I also have a large coaching program of adults with ADHD from all over the world. It's called Focused. We hang out in there and essentially just support and help everyone thrive as adults with ADHD because it is not for the faint of heart. It's hard.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting because I feel as if more adults are beginning to recognize or be diagnosed with ADHD.
Mhm.
But I also think the term ADHD gets thrown around like OCD or,
Yes,
I have bipolar disorder, or I'm, bipolar or whatever. So,
right.
and I know those are mental health conditions, not genetic or biological or
Sure.
anyway. Could you share what is ADHD? How might it present itself?
Hmm.
What would someone be noticing if they were concerned that they might have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder?
Very good. Well, that's great. You named it, so I don't have to. And you're absolutely right. It does get thrown around a lot, kind of just very casually. And I always cringe when that happens. Actually, I have a kiddo who has OCD. And
Yeah.
I also cringe when people throw that around too, like, oh, I like my house clean. I'm so OCD. And I'm like, if you only knew how
Right.
debilitating obsessive
Yes.
compulsive disorder actually is, you would not be joking about that. But that's okay. We can have grace for those types of moments.
Yeah.
So ADHD is really classified as impulsivity and distractibility, difficulty focusing, but there's so much more to it. So many of us who were maybe diagnosed as kids, but didn't really know what it meant to have ADHD or have heard about it, but didn't realize how much we see ourselves in the symptoms. A lot of that is because we have this kind of overarching view of ADHD as just like the little boy in the classroom bouncing off the walls, the class clown, like, oh, he's impulsive. Oh, he can't, inhibit his impulses, like that kind of a thing. But really, it's about so much more than that. So, yes, you're impulsive. Yes, you're more distractible. But there's also this like internal restlessness, time blindness, emotional dysregulation, really a lot of working memory issues, which is confusing because working memory is a very specific type of memory. So it's not necessarily your long term. When I worked with kids who struggled with ADHD, I would have parents be like, they can remember every detail about the trip to Disney, but they can't remember to turn in their homework. So
Right,
like,
right,
this
right. To
makes no
pack
sense. They're
pencils in
just
their
not.
backpack or whatever. Right.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. And it's
Yeah.
because the type of memory that ADHD affects is your working memory, which is like keeping the task in mind long enough to accomplish
Mm,
the goal. Right.
mm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, I can remember details about XYZ, but I'm not going to remember to like, my husband calls and like, hey, can you pick up milk on the way home? Yep, no problem. Like if I'm not setting a reminder, that thing is out of my brain. Right. And then you
Yeah.
get home and then your husband's like, where's the milk? And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then there's like a kind of a disconnect there. So it really impacts a lot of areas of life. I like to say that it affects your life from the boardroom to the bedroom. There's no
Mm,
place in your life. If you have ADHD, it impacts every area of your life. We also struggle with self-reflection. There's this subset of skills of organization, prioritizing, and planning that are really, really difficult. And then like task initiation and task completion. So
mm.
not only do we have trouble getting started on tasks, but we also have trouble finishing tasks. And what's difficult about these symptoms is some of them are very externalized,
Right.
especially for men or like a typical hyperactive ADHDer. But if you are a woman or you are more inattentive, it can be a lot of internal symptoms. So the internal restlessness, the internal anxiety, the internal
Mm.
I like to say like the chugga chugga, like you're just on the hamster wheel constantly, like the brain is just not
Never
settling
turning
down.
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe you don't have the physical hyperactive symptoms, but the hyperactivity resides in the brain.
Wow. Wow. I had never really thought about that being, potentially part of the symptomology because you hear
Yes.
so much about the physicality of it or like how it's impacting external stuff versus what's
Right.
happening inside.
Right. And what's so important for people to know about ADHD is that it doesn't impact your intelligence. And so there are so many intelligent people with ADHD. Of course, there are people additionally who have cognitive deficiencies or learning disabilities, dyslexia. That's very
Just like
common as
every
well.
average. Okay.
Yeah, just
Okay.
like every other human being.
Yeah.
But where somebody can start to think like, wait a second, maybe this is me, is if you feel like there is a huge gap between your potential and your performance.
Mm,
That's a really great indicator that it might be prudent to, look up some symptoms. I have a symptoms list on my website, or you can talk to your doctor or whatever the case may be,
yeah.
and just see if you resonate with those symptoms, because that is pretty much across the board the most common thing with people, adults with ADHD, is their performance does not match their potential. There's a big gap between the two.
Yeah. I would imagine that that potentially could make a person feel deficient, less than, very self critical. Like if you understand your potential is here,
Mhm.
but your performance is here, like what's wrong with me? Why can't I? Especially because so much of the world is not neurodivergent, it's
Hmm.
not the norm, neurotypical
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. And that really starts in childhood with
Yeah.
frustrated parents who are looking at you saying, "I know you're smart. Why can't
Yeah.
you just do this?" Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah. You're
a
not living up
lot
to
of
your potential.
yeah, you're not
Right.
living up to your potential. You would be so successful if you just applied yourself. You need to
Mm,
care about the little things. I know the homework doesn't matter to you, but if you would just turn it in, or you did your homework, why can't you remember to turn it in? And so
yeah,
those messages we start receiving at a really young age and can be really debilitating by the time that we're adults.
I bet. I was thinking just with the few clients that I have, as it's mostly adult women
Mhm.
that just put so are so self-critical, so sort of yeah, just beating themselves up all the time for not being able to sort of normally work in the world and do the things they're supposed to
Yeah.
do normally, quote
Yeah.
unquote. Right.
Absolutely. And I see that across the board, and it just breaks my heart.
I
It
bet.
just breaks my heart. It's just so hard to see people who are just wonderful, lovely people feel
Hmm.
as though they're just not enough. And that's just like a really big part of the work that I do is work really on self-acceptance with people who have
Yeah.
ADHD. Where are the areas? Of course, we all want to make improvements, right? And like that's why people are listening to your podcast. That's why people are in my like
Yeah.
obviously.
Yes.
But can we hold two truths at the same time? Can I know that I have things that I want to improve, and can I still accept myself as I am today? And
Hmm.
and can I kind of like walk the tension between the two?
Yeah. Well, and I was going to ask too, like, I don't know if you see this within the clients that you coach and the membership or the groups that you hold, that like
Mhm.
having a neurodivergent trait, often there may be another neurodivergent trait that you're struggling with too, or that you own or have, right? And I
Mhm.
was thinking about being highly sensitive and having ADHD and the depth of hurt or harm that could come from the the way you might have been raised as a child, but we're around people who didn't really understand the ADHD or the high sensitivity.
Yes. I mean, just yes, 100%. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, as I said, I think so many of us are just hurting so much and really need a soft place to land as far as understanding ourselves and our brains and working with what we can. And of course, again, like everyone wants to improve their symptoms. Same. Like,
Yeah.
let's do that. Great.
Yep.
But also recognizing how many negative messages we've internalized, how many frequent rejections we've experienced,
Mm,
how we've really, a lot of us, and I'm speaking very broadly, but I've
sure.
coached enough people that I can paint with a pretty broad brush,
Yes.
feeling like we really have to earn love and support and respect from the people around us instead of just feeling like I get to be loved. I'm entitled in a healthy way, like a healthy entitlement to
Yeah.
like my parents' love. I'm entitled to love from my spouse because they took a vow to let, like those types of
Yes. Yes.
things
Yes.
are
Sure.
so difficult for us to really step into our authority and our agency in those ways.
Yeah. 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 No, I feel that too. And as you said, sort of the soft place to land where that's
Mm,
understood and held and also
mm.
nurtured so that you can learn to nurture yourself around however you are. Right.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
again, it's not to make excuses and it's not to negate any negative impact that we might have on others. Of course, we want to hold ourselves accountable for that. But what I often see is this like over responsibility
Mm-hmm.
among people
Mm-hmm.
with ADHD. A lot of us are highly traumatized, and a lot of us just feel this like, I'm responsible for everyone's happiness. And if I don't meet these expectations, then I don't deserve love. And that's just that we just need to rewrite that script.
Oh my gosh. So much. So much.
Mm.
And for you, you're obviously speaking from your experience of working with clients and working with the people you work with. But I understand too that this is how you've grown up with having ADHD and navigating the world and recognizing just the idea of masking, of showing up in a way
Yes.
that you feel like you should in the world.
Mhm.
I think people who have high sensitivity as well as ADHD and maybe any other neurodivergent trait that like the whole neuronormative or neurotypical world, it's as if we have to be different in order to be out there or to be
Yes.
okay or to, yeah, versus
Yeah.
maybe other people can learn to understand me as I am. And
Right. Just a little bit, maybe.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's interesting. So, masking is a term that, credit where credit is due, really belongs to the autism community.
yeah,
And it's really a term, from what I understand, and any autistic person listening can correct me,
sure.
but it's really like observing behavior that's acceptable in society and trying to mimic it in order to be acceptable, right, in those moments. So like,
Yes.
I noticed that you use these inflections when so I will use the same
Mhm.
inflections, right?
Okay.
For ADHD, we do use the term masking, although I honestly, from my perspective, it's more of like a people pleasing trauma response
Yeah,
situation,
yeah, yeah,
more of
yeah.
a fawning, more of a, I've
Mm,
been taught that I'm not acceptable unless I'm meeting these expectations. And I really, of course, it's excruciating for me not to be acceptable because that means loss of attachment and loss of love. So
yep,
I'm going to go ahead and people please. Right. And so that
yep,
it is a different flavor, I think,
yeah,
from we do use the term, but I do want to give credit where credit's due because like true masking really belongs to the autism community.
yeah,
But for us ADHDers, it's
yeah.
really about rejection sensitivity
Mm,
and learning at a very young age that the way that we think and the way that we are and the way that we kind of show up in the world is not okay. And so now I just need to contort myself in order to be acceptable, or I need to detach from myself and my own needs in order to attach to you. Right. So, like,
yeah,
if my mom has certain expectations, that I need to detach from myself and my own needs in order to meet those expectations. And yeah, I think what we all really want is just like safety and
yeah,
reciprocity. And of course, not having an unbalanced relationship where my husband is always meeting my needs or he's always accommodating my neurodivergence. But like a little bit of that is not inappropriate.
yeah,
A little
yeah,
bit of him being like, I'm going to pack your lunch for you because I can see you're running around like a crazy person right now. And like, let me pack your lunch, right? Without being like, what is wrong with you? Why didn't you just get up earlier? Well, you didn't, I
Mhm.
saw you sitting on your phone for 20 minutes. Like, what were you doing? Instead of that, it's like, how can I help? I'll pack
Yes.
your lunch for you real quick. Right. So that's just
Yes.
like a sweet accommodation
Yeah.
that is so safe and so supportive that then allows me to be like, the way I am is okay.
Well,
Like, yes, this is a little chaotic, but it's
yeah.
also okay. I can still be chaotic and lovable at the same time.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And so appreciate your, yeah, clarity around masking versus the
Yeah.
sort of the people pleasing and accommodating that needs to often has to happen in order
Yeah.
to get the love and attention that all of us really want
Yes. And
and need
deserve.
and
Yes.
deserve.
100%. My voice gets really high when I'm passionate, as you can
Oh,
tell.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Oh, gosh. I know, I would imagine, I can't say I know because I don't know your clients, but I would imagine people are coming to you or coming to other professionals who can help them with better understanding themselves, that there's a lot of shame that can be attached to being who they are.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that shame is one of the trickiest emotions that we deal with. And it's also one of the most debilitating.
for sure.
And I don't mean to like always bring it back to childhood,
But
but
so much is rooted there.
I just don't think we can ignore the environment in which we were raised, the soil in which we were grown.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. How we attach to the people who are supposed to be the people who love us. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so again, it's like if I know that I'm going to be rejected for who I am,
Yeah.
right? I have this really busy brain. I'm really I was a hyperactive girl. Well, I mean, I am a hyperactive girl, but like it's rare that females diagnosed with ADHD are like full on hyperactive. And I was like, woo, girlfriend was hyperactive.
Yeah.
And, that's hard. That's a hard person to parent. That
Oh,
is not
yeah.
an easy
Yeah.
child to raise,
Oh, for
right?
sure. For sure. Well, especially because, yeah, school was hard, friendships were hard, parenting was
Yes.
hard. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so I think we can have compassion for the way that we were raised, but we can also tell the truth about how difficult it was for us to be on the receiving end of why can't you just
Mm,
XYZ?
hmm
And a
hmm
child is always going to believe their parent. They just
Yep.
are. So
Yep.
if the parent says you're lazy, okay, I guess I'm lazy. If the
Yeah.
parent says you're really difficult, I hope you have a daughter just like you.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I believe the parent when
The
they say that, right?
narrative.
We
Yeah.
all do.
Oh, yeah.
And so much about adulthood is like unlearning that, right? And that's okay. That's just the work. That is the work. But
Yeah.
unpacking that shame is one of the most important parts of healing with ADHD. And really, what I'm finding is that is done so well in community when there are
Mm,
other people talking and bringing to light the shameful things, when you can see yourself in someone else's story, when you can have the support of someone who you recognize, like, though this is a good person and they feel shame,
right.
this person is wonderful and they feel shame, and just recognize how this is like a through line throughout all of our stories. There's something very healing about that.
Oh, I 100% agree with you and see it in my community with highly sensitive women because
Mm,
same thing. It's like, oh, you experienced that too. You were told you were too much or too sensitive
mhm.
or don't be so whatever.
Yes. Is it
Yeah.
Brene Brown that says shame lives in darkness?
Yes. Oh, so much. Yes, she
And
does.
so
She
bringing it to
absolutely
light,
does. Yes.
that's the antidote to shame, is just speaking it and bringing it to light, and then having the community, again, the soft place to land
Yeah.
where you can
Yeah.
just be held metaphorically
Yeah.
and not judged. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And so well, are there tools or I know my clients love to say coping mechanisms,
Mm,
strategies that
mm,
sort of day to day might help someone who is listening to maybe navigate the world with less distress? What might you?
mm. Absolutely. I mean, so with ADHD, if someone is suspecting they have ADHD, what I would say is go get yourself a diagnosis,
Yeah.
please. That the shame that that actually removes from a
Yeah.
human being
Yeah.
when they can realize, oh, everything I hate about myself, pretty much, is actually a symptom of a neurodevelopmental disorder. So it's
Right.
not me.
It's
It's not,
just,
it's,
yeah. Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
separation there, right? So
Yes. Less
when I,
identification. Yeah.
yes, exactly. So we can say, like, I used to think things like, I guess I'm just a bad person. I guess I just don't care as much as everybody else. I guess I'm just
Mm,
lazy. I guess I'm just, I'm unorganized. I'm a hot mess. Like those were the labels that I had for myself. A
yeah.
lot of people just don't want to label. I don't want to be diagnosed. I don't want to label. Or parents will say that about their kids. I don't want to label my kids. Well, here's the truth. Your kid is already wearing labels,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's just maybe we could have a more accurate label. Or you as an adult, you're already labeling yourself, unless you are highly evolved, way more evolved than I am, right? Like you're already labeling yourself lazy, unorganized, hot mess, just a whirlwind, chaotic. Instead of that, how about we label it more accurately, more clinically, and then we can separate out what's connected to ADHD and what's connected to my character? Because those are
Yeah.
two different things,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? There's the ADHD symptoms, and then there's the character of who I am. So I cannot keep my friends' birthdays in my head. I just can't, like, I have forgotten so many
Yeah.
friends'
Yeah.
birthdays. Is it because I don't love them? Is it because I don't care about them? Is it because, like, those are the things I used to tell myself. I guess I just don't care as much as everybody else. Now,
Mm,
now that I understand how pervasive my ADHD is, I can recognize, yes, I do care. And also, I will not remember. So I
mm,
better put it on a calendar and look at my calendar regularly. But it's not until I recognize I have ADHD. This makes me time blind. This makes me not understand time at all. Time, calendars, days, like April 1st, January 1st, they're the same in my head. There's no difference, right? And so being able to understand, okay, this is not a character flaw, but because I have ADHD, I need to do something about this,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
I can
first
put
get
in
the
place
label.
things. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So
Yeah.
having a diagnosis is key. Research tells us that medication is the number one thing to help ADHD. It is the most treatable mental health condition, the
Mm,
most treatable. It responds the best out of any other mental health condition. It
it's
responds the best
true.
to medication.
Yeah.
And there are medications that have been around for decades and decades that are very well studied.
Yeah.
And
And have
so,
been shown safe even for children.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
for children and adults.
Right.
And so that would be number. So like get a diagnosis if you can, if you're willing to hop on a medication.
Mm-hmm.
It has the potential to change your entire life.
Yeah.
And then coaching and therapy and or
Yep.
therapy,
Yep.
very, very, very helpful. And I always list it in that order because a lot of, especially hyperactive people, are not going to be able to sit in a therapy chair
That
if
is
they're
so
not
true.
medicated first. We're not going
Yeah.
to be able to sit face to face and have a coaching call if we're not medicated first, right? So medication is kind of the gateway to having access to other resources. Then
Yeah.
there's lifestyle changes, like really making sure that you're implementing actual tools like a calendar system, outsourcing your frontal lobe as much as you can. So if you
Hmm.
have money, not everyone does, but
Sure.
if you do, spend it
Yeah.
on your frontal
Support.
lobe. Yes,
Yeah.
support. Hire a cleaning person, hire a laundry service, hire an executive assistant. I'm like, please, here's your permission slip if you have the money to spend it on those kind of supports. The problem is that if we don't recognize ADHD and we don't realize how it impacts us, then we say, I should be able to do this on my own. This
Yes.
shouldn't be so hard. What is wrong with me? Everybody else can do it. All of my peers can do it. My best friend's managing XYZ and I can't even keep my shit together. It's like, no,
Oh, yeah.
honey. So that's why the first step is like recognizing the
This is part of,
diagnosis.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is
Yeah,
just part of your
understanding.
chemistry or whatever, right?
Yes.
Your biological makeup.
Yes. Yeah. And so truly it takes time and effort and creativity and working at it. But people, even with debilitating ADHD, I mean, I used to be on the couch watching daytime TV, not being able to pay any of my bills. Like that was who I was 20
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
did it take me a minute? Yeah, but there also weren't adult ADHD resources then like there are now, right?
yeah.
So I feel like I'm filling the role of the person that I needed to access
Mm,
when I was watching Live with Regis and Kelly, followed by the Tony Danza show, followed by The View, followed by the Action News at 12 p.m. And then I was like, maybe I should take a shower, right? Like
yeah,
that was my life.
yeah,
And so I needed someone to be like, you can make improvements.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I, oh, and I feel that so much for, I think that message of like, there is a different way, right? There is hope.
Mm.
There is hope
There
that things can be
is.
different. Yeah.
I am so encouraged by my own life and my own growth and seeing clients
Mm,
make amazing improvements in their lives
yeah.
in yes in their day-to-day lives but also like in their relationships and in the health of the connection that they get to have with others and in their
Hmm.
careers. It's just it is wonderful. Like hope is right there for you.
Hmm.
It's such a gift to be able to access that.
Well, and I would imagine it's a gift for the people that you work with to hear that, feel that from you,
Mm,
from your
yeah, I hope so.
programs. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Well, I so appreciate you taking the time with me today. If there, well, we did just give a message. There is hope, but if there was something else you felt like was important to share with listeners who
Mm.
were thinking about their own, do I have ADHD or am I just a mess? Right.
Oh,
Yeah. What, oh,
that question just got me.
mm,
I would say find a therapist or a clinician who will listen to you.
yeah,
And I'm not saying that will diagnose you because I don't know if you have ADHD or not. But
sure.
if you feel like something is off, something's probably off. So whether it's ADHD or something else, find a clinician who will listen.
Mm,
And the reason why I frame it in that way is because, especially women, especially high achieving women, are often dismissed
mm,
in the clinician's office because, like, well, you can't have ADHD. You went to Harvard. You
right.
can't
You're
have ADHD.
presenting,
You're a
right.
lawyer. You
Yes.
can't have ADHD. You raised a family and created a business. And
Right.
that is just complete BS. That is not true at all.
Mm,
ADHD does not have anything to do with how smart you are or how much you've achieved. The question is, okay, you went to Harvard or you are a lawyer or you did all of that amazing stuff. Great. What was the behind the scenes like?
right. What was the cost of pushing, pushing, pushing? Right.
What did it cost you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were
Yeah.
you working the same amount as your peers
Yeah.
or were you having to work twice as hard? Were you carrying the same stress load as your peers, or were you debilitated in the fetal position, crying in the bathroom every day? Like, did you feel like it was just so much harder for you than it was for everyone else? If so, find someone who will hear that from you, really, really hear that. And if you're dismissed by the first person, fire them and find someone else. Again, I don't
Absolutely.
know if you have ADHD, so I'm not saying demand a diagnosis, but you do deserve to be heard. And
Mm,
any clinician that dismisses you does not deserve your money. So
yeah.
move on.
Yeah. Well, and therapy is been proven to be ineffective if you don't connect with your therapist
Yes,
on a meaningful, in a meaningful way. So I agree.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kristen, we probably could talk about a lot more, but I want to be respectful of your time. And I just so appreciate your coming on the podcast. It was really, I don't know, enlightening, but also validating for me, just in the work that I do with my clients, to be able to better serve them, help them, support them too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. This is
Yeah.
great.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you. Now,
wonderful to connect with you.
yeah. And how would people find you if after listening to this, they're like, I need to know more about her?
Well, I have a free podcast called the I Have ADHD podcast. It's available on all podcast platforms and YouTube now. We're brand new on YouTube, so you can check us out there if you prefer to watch rather than listen. And you can visit my website, ihaveadhd.com. I have some resources there. You can learn about my coaching program there. All the things are on ihaveadhd.com.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I will include all of those resources in the show notes. And
Cool.
yeah, I'm so grateful that you were able to come on the show
Mm.
today.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
It's interesting that as my work grows, as my understanding grows about neurodivergence and all things neurodivergent, I have come to so appreciate the people out there doing the work to normalize and validate the experience of women in particular, but of people who are neurodivergent. And as far as I'm concerned, I believe that high sensitivity falls into that category. I'm not 100% sure everyone feels that way, all people in research, etc. But yeah, I believe that it is a neurodivergent characteristic that high sensitivity is, and that it can be part of some other neurodivergent trait as well, like ADHD. And I found this conversation just so enlightening, fascinating, hopeful, and Kristen was really delightful. And again, what really came through for me was the importance of self-compassion, meeting yourself with care around whatever your struggle might be, whether it's been through the shame of feeling like you're a mess or not enough, whether you were told you were too sensitive as a child and need to man up or whatever it is. I think coming together in community with women who understand where you're coming from. So, as I said, my membership for Highly Sensitive Women, the Circle of Sacred Sensitivity, is a place where we can connect and grow and learn and support and encourage each other. And when we come together, it's a beautiful thing. The energy is amazing, and it just fills me up, fills my heart, fills my soul. And after talking to Kristen, I'm guessing her community focus is very similar in feeling, just based on her energy alone in this conversation. So I hope that if you are looking for support and because you think you might have ADHD or have been diagnosed, I would check out her stuff. Well, I really appreciate you listening. I appreciate you sharing the podcast. If this resonates with you, this conversation, please share it with someone who you feel like it would make an impact. It would also resonate with them, because it means a lot to me to have these conversations shared for anyone who might need to hear them. Well, I hope you are taking care of yourself. I hope you're being kind to yourself, and I look forward to connecting with you right here on the podcast next time. Thanks for listening to the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. The information in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional. Music by Andy Cush, sound editing by Laura Disler, and show notes by Kathy Cush. If you'd like more information about me, Biz Cush, and the resources shared today, go to awakenyourwisewoman.com.